You had to concede to me. We probably can write the history of boxing without remembering Canelo and Trout in the ring. However, what was going on
I
outside the
was wondering where
ring?
you're going with this.
You know I'm always going
Yeah, no, I
somewhere.
didn't realize
What
where.
was going on outside of the ring
Well, let me set the
makes it
stage for the
even
fight.
more memorable because you were not at this fight while working
Yes.
for ESPN for a very good reason for Canelo Trout.
So before I get to that, though, just to set up why this was a big deal. A, it was a unification fight. B, it was also for the vacant ring, which was emblematic of the lineal title to most people. Uh, Second of all, Trout was undefeated. Golden Boy, which was Canelo's promoter at the time, really didn't want him to do the fight. That's not even a secret. Canelo insisted on the fight. He wanted the test. Trout was coming off of having defeated Miguel Cotto to win the WBA title in a big upset. So he had every deserving nature to be in this matchup. He was a very good fighter at the time. He was certainly among the top few fighters in the 154-pound weight class. They put this fight on at the Alamodome. It was like a really big deal. Um, Live on Showtime. Uh, it was a big deal. And you say why was TJ? Just say why Rafael wasn't there.
Dan was not
I
there
got a good
for a
reason, and this is
really
one of
good
the
reason.
this is one of the few Canelo fights in America anyway. You know, not the Mexico fights, but that I missed because of a damn good reason. Uh, April 20th was actually the due date when my wife was scheduled or supposed to, according to the doctor, give birth to our son. So for obvious reasons, my plans changed, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to the fight because he's gonna, there's a good chance he's born, in and around that fight week. So my good pal Kieran Mulvaney, who was also working at ESPN at the time, who was like basically my backup guy on boxing, they sent Kieran to cover the fight in San Antonio, and he did a great job as he always did. And Rafael was home, but my son actually had been born several days earlier, so we had just gotten home from the hospital. I forget if it was that day or the day before, and there was two boxing matches. My wife is like upstairs; she's like resting and trying to recover, and she's asleep. And so I'm sitting in the living room with this 2 day old or 3 day old baby on my lap, not knowing what the hell I'm going to do. Earlier in the day, from the Madison Square Garden Theater on NBC or NBC Sportsnet, I forget which it was, you had Tyson Fury pre-championship against Steve Cunningham, where Steve Cunningham, the former cruiserweight title holder, knocked Tyson Fury down. Fury got up and ended up winning the fight. So that was officially, I guess, my son's first ever boxing match while he was asleep on my lap. But later that night, I'm watching again. I got him on the lap, and he's out cold, and I'm watching. Uh,
Oh,
Wife is upstairs. I'm watching Canelo do this fight against Austin Trout, and it was a good fight. I mean, it was Austin Trout may not have ever become like some mega superstar, but he gave Canelo a good run that night. Some people thought that he might have won. I didn't think so. But look, Canelo was in a real fight against a tough guy. This was, in my mind, the first like real guy that he fought. Like when he had won the title against Matthew Hatton, for example, that was a zillion to one type of fight. He had made defenses against guys like good names, Ryan Rhodes, Alfonso Gomez, even Kermit Cintron. But never did I think that he was any danger in those fights. Then they matched him up with Shane Mosley, who was obviously a great name and a Hall of Famer, but way past his best days, and he absolutely annihilated him on points. And then he took on Josecito Lopez, who was tiny compared to him, coming up like two or three weight classes to fight him, coming up from like 140 basically. Trout was a real guy at 54. He's just beaten Cotto for a title. He's got boxing skills. He's been around for a bit. He's undefeated. And this was like a real fight. This was the fight that preceded when Canelo fought Mayweather, by the way. But he did a very good job. Canelo dropped Trout in the seventh round. He ended up winning 118, 109 on one scorecard. That was maybe a little bit giftish towards Canelo. The other two seemed more in line, 115 to 112, 116 to 111. And he won the fight, unified the titles, and became the Ring Magazine and lineal champion of the 154 division. And Rafael was home with a 3 day old baby in
now
his lap.
this begs the question: were
Yeah.
you diaper changing Dan at that point? Did you?
Yes.
So right away, you didn't have to be coached, instructed.
Well, I had
You
to be
were
coached a
ready.
little bit.
You were ready to go on fight night if need be, and
Well, let
probably
me ask you a
it
question.
needed to be like several times, probably.
So my in-laws did come in the next few days to stay with us
Mm-hmm.
for a while to help out. And I also, when they were gone, I actually did something, and it's the greatest investment I ever made. Uh, Fortunately, I could afford to do it. We hired, this was a boxing friend of mine, gave me this suggestion. Said, if you can afford it, this is the way to go. Hire a baby nurse. So I had hired a baby nurse to come to our house from this company that did that. And the nurse, we had like 2 or 3 over the course of a month or so that we used this company. They were all tremendous, and they basically taught us how to make him sleep and all the things you need to do, and they were wonderful with him. But that wasn't on the first day, so I was hiring a baby nurse. They were coming to my house at like 6 in the evening and basically staying till like 7 the next morning. That helped my wife nurse and the whole thing.
Wow.
Anyway, that was a great start. But on those first few days, I was on my own. My wife's upstairs, like knocked out, and so I had to change diapers.
You had to figure all that out.
Well, I didn't change a lot of them, but I changed a bunch of them early.
You got to do the bottle. You got to do the diaper. You got. Wait a minute, Canelo just knocked Trout down, and then the baby's away. All of that happening now. Back 12 years ago on Sunday. Happy birthday, by the way, to young Rayfield.